Shalom, family. Shalom. Glory be to God, and blessed be the Lamb. Glory be to God, and blessed be the Lamb. It has been a blessed day. A blessed day. That gentleman, Mr. Milikowski, showed up at the UN today to bloviate. He showed up to bloviate, to repeat the same lies and the same patterns of lies as he has done for the last overall 70 plus years. He came to do as spokesman for that nation state today. And he was going to bring you more lies, specifically the ones that he has brought you since October 7th. We're almost at a year now. Many dead. Many dead. Not one life lost in vain. Not one. You need to understand that, Mr. Milikowski. You know, their cries are heard. Where do you think that pain goes when someone cries? You think that it goes just puff in the air, all that energy? You think that it just dissipates into nothingness? You be wrong. It is received. Their pain is received. You need to understand these things, but you don't. But today is my birthday, and I got a gift today. The members of the UN, all those countries and nation states, got up and walked out as soon as you open your lying ass trap. You know, the one that you tell lies about who attacks who, why. See, Mr. Milikowski, there's two types of lies. It's the kind we all know about, in which we outright lie, and then it's the lie of omission. You know, the one that you know the truth, but you don't speak it because it would somehow derail either your beliefs or your agenda or something of that nature. Well, those things. I couldn't have gotten a better gift on my birthday than to see humanity walk out on this clown. He stands alone. He stands alone. He is a pariah on the world stage, along with that other aggressor nation, the United States, and that other aggressor nation, France, and that other aggressor nation, Britain, all running their ass around in an effort to destabilize the world for at least another 100 years. And they had big plans too. Grandiose plans, I mean, to rule the world. I wonder if they read books, because if they had read the books and not do like most of my people do, see, most of my people let Pastor Wayne scream at them 45 minutes. And now Pastor Wayne is only a euphemism for black pastors overall. So Pastor Wayne will scream at their ass for 45 minutes after making sure that he got his money up front. He don't start screaming until that bowl passed by him at least twice. Then he might start screaming at you about one scripture or the other. But if you had read that same book that Pastor Wayne say he read, you would understand what's going on right now, Mr. Milikowski. You stand alone. And the devil lied on humanity. He lied. Y'all should know he lied. He lied big time, too. He's a fool. But we should not be dispersing that old troublemaker tonight. He'll be busy tonight. It's Friday night. We're going to leave him to his work. However, but Mr. Milikowski, wow. And I hardly ever call anyone by name. This is a particular honor for you. It has to be. It has to be. Who else have I called by name? Yeah, there's been an accidental name drop here and there, but for the most part, 99.5%, I never speak anyone's name. In particular, those who sit in these positions of authority and power, because it's dangerous. So you, Mr. Milikowski, as I told you a few weeks ago, you're on our radar now. We on a similar level. We honestly are. See, you have no compunction and much inclination towards violence, mayhem, and murder, as long as it doesn't come to you or yours. Don't get me wrong, I find that shit commendable. I actually do. But how we get there is what's important. What's important? You want to start the storyline. I'm only telling you what the rest of the world is trying to tell you, but because you have the support of the United States with a seemingly endless supply of bullets and bombs and airplanes, even their men are willing to run, well, not their men, but their military is willing to take the life of the Palestinian or the Lebanese or anybody else in the Middle East. Quite frankly, Middle Easterners, you have to realize something. For the past 25 years, you have been a part of an agenda. The neocons in the United States have sought to remake the Middle East for the past 25 years. When Fox News first came out, they would speak openly about reshaping the Middle East to something that they would find more palatable. The plan was to break you up into smaller states, okay? And they wanted this for 25 years. The neocons, particularly under the leadership of the American Enterprise Institute, AEI. I know a lot of y'all have never heard of it, and they're not all of that now, but they do have a lot of power on the foreign stage. And in the United States, they tend to get what they want because they're partner up or they're connected to AIPAC. And we all know who owns the Congress and the Senate and the president and the vice president. And we looked at the numbers. They've been getting big money from AIPAC. I mean, all of them bought off, and their kids is bought off. Everybody is bought off. Listen, man, they're not worried about nothing we say. But I'm going to get to them in just a minute because they are a part of the aggressor nation. It's a new status I've already given them. Aggressor nation. He who goes around the world, the bombing and maiming and killing and poisoning and a shooting and a raping and a pillaging over everybody else's resources because God did not give them any. But the little that he did give them, they destroyed on their own through the system of what they call capitalism. Now look at the place. All of the private owners have bought up all of the property, all of the gold, all of the resources, and they sold it on the open market until they had no more. Now, since they've done that, they go throughout the world and they want your oil, your diamonds, anything that you got that they think that they can make better use of, even your ass, if they can make it happen. But we're going to get to them in a minute. Let's get back to Milikowski over here. Mr. Milikowski, my bad. He stands alone in front of the UN. I watched the speech. He spoke to all these empty chairs. And dude, why didn't you just leave like they did? I mean, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. This would be the first time that you have bloviated in front of a audience of no-shows or walkouts. Amazing. And you didn't leave yourself. The need to bloviate is immense. The need to spread rhetoric and propaganda is immense, isn't it? Or was it just a duty that you had to do? Even so, that tells me that you could have stood on the Mount Sermon and said that shit. You could have stood on the sidewalk outside of the UN and said that shit. You could have said that same shit in Israel at your house. And it would have had the same effect, and you wouldn't have been so embarrassed. You are embarrassed, aren't you? You are, or do men like you still feel well, I'm going to ask the question. You do feel embarrassed, don't you? Because they say that men like you neither feel shame or embarrassment, which was on full display today. That explains why you did not walk out. A normal man would have seen what's going on here and seen the backs and asses of hundreds of people walking out as you ran your trap. And you stood there and spoke for what? Another 20 minutes? Did y'all watch the speech? He called y'all everything except the terrorists. You're all Hamas now. Every last one of y'all. That's so fucking funny. It's so fucking funny. Hey, that means that 95% of the world is now officially Hamas. And that's at the very least. But on the other extreme, I think that he thinks of the rest of the world as a terrorist. Wow. Because he sure sounded like it. I mean, he called you evil and wicked and misguided. Thought that the man, listen here. I thought that the man, listen here. I could almost smell the sulfur through the screen of my device. I could smell the sulfur. At any rate, well, what's the new standing? You know what the next step is, Mr. Milikowski. I don't know why we have to waste time going through all of the next few steps to tell where we all know this is going. I mean, you can keep killing, you can keep making war, but you do know where all this is going, and at this point, I'm quite sure that even you have to see that any future moves that you make would be vanity. You have painted yourself into this box quite well. Without our help, your arrogance and your quest for power, your need to be a man, doomed you. Your need to be a mighty man doomed you. Like the mighty men of the Bible. See? But they were made of different stuff than you are. So what would be the next move? You threaten nuclear war if this ever happened. You said it out your own mouth. See, we're going to pull your cards right now. We're going to pull that card right now. The world has turned against you. What will you do? Will you nuke Europe? Because that's who got you into this mess in the beginning. I mean, Europe. I mean, Eastern Europe. I mean, they tell me that you have over 300 nuclear weapons ready to go. Well, may I suggest that you to give your most militant government official the code? May I suggest that you access the codes yourself and keep them close? Because this is where we make you a lie. Right about here, sir. For you to use nuclear weapons, you know that every last one of you will die all over this planet. Every last one of you. I promise you this. Not just the ones in Israel. No, every one all over this planet will die. Okay? But a man of such stature as yourself and your acceptance of violence and death, I don't see why this would be a problem. Warriors understand that they sometimes die. It is a a a duty that is accepted with honor. What say you? Will you accept this duty with honor? Your death, the death of your people, the erasure of your people off the planet. Not only that, we won't even speak of you again. We will never even speak of you again. So, rather than a slow motion crawl up to nuclear war, or are you using nuclear weapons in the event that the rest of the world turns against Israel, remember how you say it, never again? I hate when you say that, never again. You all say that as if someone done something to you. You are too stupid and arrogant to see that no one gets kicked out of 103 countries without cause, or seeing that at some point generationally, maybe the freaking problem was us. This is why we keep getting kicked out of country after country after country after damn country. Maybe it's us. You know, all these millions of people, they can't be wrong, but your arrogance would never let you see that. Now, both you and the rest of the world stand at the precipice of death. So what will it be? Will it be death, Mr. Milikowski? Man, I love this shit because I know I'm dealing with a coward. A man who never wants to die. A man who never wants to face his end. He never wants to face his end. He never wants to die. A man who never wants to die, once he is really assured that he will die, he will do everything he can to avoid death. And at the end of the day, so will Mr. Milikowski. They all do. He'll be no damn different. Now, on to aggressor nations. Sorry, Mr. Milikowski. I won't be calling you Mr. Natanyahu because that is dishonorable. It was dishonorable for you, and it makes me lie about who you really are. So we're going to be calling you Mr. Milikowski. Besides, it's more fitting. You look like a Milikowski, not a Netanyahu. Netanyahu, however you say it. You don't look like that guy. No, you look like Mr. Milikowski. In a seat of power that is too big, too powerful, and you don't have the right character to lead that country anywhere except death, as you're doing now. And I'm sure you see it. Israelis, you do see it, right? I'm going to tell you. The vast majority of the world hates you. See how we went right at the problem? The vast majority of the world hates you. How does it feel to be filthy rich with benefits? All of the power that a man or a nation could possibly muster, and it mean absolutely nothing because the world found itself. You know the ones who can't be bought off? Those. They all walk the hell out with power. They turn their backs on you. And they left your leader standing there bloviating. That's the word of the day, bloviating. Just running his damn mouth, getting angrier and angrier and more emotional as the minutes went tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Getting more and more emotional as he screamed and shouted to an empty chamber. Jeez, what a guy. What a damn guy. That is doing his duty to the utmost. Well, how you feel about that? We're not talking about him. You did notice that the world walked out. Now, when the world walks out on you, pretty much you have objectified yourself. Objectification happens when right before they are about to kill you. Objectification means they have removed the humanity from you. That's what objectification, sort of like you do to Palestinians. You know the word objectification. Well, you people have been objectified. You barely look human at this point. Barely. Shall I go down the list? Shall I go down the list? Then I won't. You know what you are guilty of, and it would be senseless and without profit for me to go down the list. And it would only be received by you as insulting. So it's not necessary. There is no profit in it. Profit is in telling you the truth, not insulting you or not making you feel insulted. Okay? Now let's asperse these aggressor nations. You know the ones who want to feel like that they, oh, and the elite. The elite. The elite. Wow, what a word, elite. Anyway, aggressor nations. Those who think that they have an express right brought on by, let's be straight, fellas. It's not that you're smarter. It's not that your countries are well governed or well taken care of, or they're not all embroiled in some type of suffering and misery on a sociological level. In America, you stand on the brink of civil war, and yet you trot on. You stand on the brink of civil war, and you make war on the outside of your boundaries while you are in the midst of creating an open front, military front in your own country that will lead to a multi-year insurgency in this country. You're a bonehead. You're a bunch of idiots. However, we ain't mad at you because you helped the cause. You helped the cause. You justify everything. You justify everything. Shall you, ask yourself this. If it was a bunch of other race, fill in the blank, rampaging around the world, invading this country and that country, breaking the countries up, overthrowing their governments, elected governments, over and over and over until you get what you want, would you not at some point rise up and say enough? Well, that's simply what the rest of the world has done here. The Western countries, aggressor countries, they are involved in a huge conspiracy to literally take and rule the world for themselves. For themselves. And that may have been okay in the 13th century, the 12th century, the 14th century, maybe even the 15th century. But after that, listen, once the swords and spears and bows and arrows and shields were gone, and they went to bullets, everything changed. Once everyone got bullets, everything changed. You aren't the only one who have bullets anymore. And airplanes, and ships, and missiles. It's a fundamental different dynamic. Yet you act as if though you're still in the 18th century, 1900s, 1965. I'm talking about via your own foreign policy. Via your own foreign policy, which is basically to take whatever you want. If you cannot manipulate the situation or cause the situation, then you make open war. That's why I called you aggressor nations. Aggressor nations. Wow. It's more than just an epiphany. It's more than just an epiphany. You are a band of marauding killers at the end of the day. At the end of the day. So what should happen? Clearly you don't want to die. Mr. Milikowski, we're unsure about him. You know, I've seen him, and he kind of looks like he have in him, he's the type that he might take the suicide pill. He might take the cyanide pill. I mean, because he just looks like he's the type that if he really fall, hit the ground really hard and realize that, damn, I've got my people hated and killed, bombed, missilized, fomenting everything from raping to pillaging to the decapitation of children. I mean, 14,000 children, man, that ain't bad shooting at all. That's if I was shooting babies. 14,000 babies? Nigga, that's got to be some kind of damn record. But I have seen this somewhat on the world stage. This ain't the first time. This ain't the first time this type of character has came to play on the world stage. They tend to pop up every 100 years or so. Every 100 years or so, they just have to clear blue. The devil just goes out in his garden and snatch one of them up and plant them in power. And there you go. He pulls them up by the root and plant them in power. And now this one is on a rampage. What do you have to live for? Do you know what your legacy will look like as they write the story, as they write history? Wow. And you should ask yourself, I couldn't help but notice that as a man, did I detect that you were trying to make this a test of wills? I hope that I did not detect, Mr. Milikowski, that you were trying to make this a test of wills. Let me tell you a secret, Mr. Milikowski. The devil is going to leave you there by yourself. You do realize that, right? On that day, the devil, no matter what he's giving you now, or what he's telling you now, on that fateful day, he will not be there with you. No, he won't. You should know that. Ain't gonna be nobody there but you and your fate. That's it. You and your end, Mr. Milikowski. Think about that for just a moment. I know you haven't talked. You haven't thought about these things, have you? And you haven't. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. Did I detect a test of wills between me and you, Mr. Milikowski? Because it could have been just a blip in the frequency. But I couldn't help but notice that on one occasion, I said something that you found offensive, either toward the Jewish people or yourself personally, and I felt like you went out of your way to order even more airstrikes, even more killing. Would that be the case, Mr. Milikowski? Would that be the case, Mr. Milikowski? Or are you still feeling like Mr. Netanyahu? That guy is gone. Mr. Natanyahu is gone. We both know it. Stop playing. We both know Mr. Netanyahu is gone. I know what lies within. Now, Mr. Milikowski, did I detect a test of wills? It was like you did make me think. I thought to myself that if this is a test of wills, and if I say something else, he's only going to kill more Palestinians. Now, that's how you made me feel. Did you intend that, Mr. Milikowski? Did you intend that? Because it would seem to be that you were trying to put their blood on my hands or force me into some kind of submission, Mr. Milikowski. Now, I am tempering my anger right about now. I mean, you are right next door to a storm. But anyway, I'm going, since I can't be sure, and I know that you're going to be the type of man who would never admit to it openly and say, yes, this is a test of will, motherfucker. We want to see what you got. See, I know you ain't built like that. I'm built like that. But you, Mr. Milikowski, you're not built like that. No, you're not. So we're going to wrap this up. Think about what I said and think about what the absence of the UN General Assembly, which you seem like you was forced to speak in front of an empty chamber, means. The world has turned against you and your people, is what it means. Now, my grandparents went to their went to their death thinking, this is where we finally knock, this is all your religion's death blow right here. This gonna end the whole argument. Right here. Pastors, deacons, rabbis, sheiks, believers, non-believers, and the misunderstood, and the would-be believers. Now, according to the Bible, when the world raises up his hand against that nation state of Israel, raise their hands against the Jews to smite them, then God is going to step in and smite the world. Well, sir, by my reckoning, it's put up or shut up. It's put up or shut up. Are you awaiting God's mighty hand to step in and save you, sir? Is that what you're waiting? Because that would mean my grandmother them was right. But I knew they were wrong. But I didn't want to break their heart because they didn't understand that the real Jews were black like them. They are the Jews because they had been brainwashed over and over, beaten, raped, starved, thrown in the ocean, alligator bait, you name it. Oh, all right, so they just went to believe in whatever the hell Master said. Master might have said that the ground is the sky. Them niggas would have, hey, we know this motherfucker crazy, but we gonna run with it. But we all know he will kill our ass and probably eat us. Okay? And you took that as an understanding. Okay? But it was not a understanding. It was a will to live on our behalf. Because you got murder in you. That's okay, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Mr. Milikowski here and what he's gonna do and how he's gonna set my grandmother and their belief right for me. Aren't we, Mr. Milikowski? We both know that God's mighty hand is not gonna rise up in open defense or any kind of defense of you, don't we? Now that would make my grandmother them wrong, and I hate like hell that they're here, not here to see it. But one thing we ain't gonna see is God's mighty hand step in to save that nation state, man-made, fictitious people called Israel or Israeli. It's not going to happen. I think I'm a pretty good damn source. Wouldn't you think, Mr. Milikowski? Now, I'm done with you. I think I've undressed you pretty damn well. It didn't hurt you too bad. Didn't hurt you too bad. So, you know what they say, right? You know what they say. That men like you will ask the rocks and the mountains to fall on you, and hide you from the gaze of he, the Lamb who will be bringing you wrath. Well, Mr. Milikowski, you should go be looking for some rocks because the Lamb's eye is on you right now, the one who will be bringing you wrath. So, we're going to both act like that was not a test of wheels. We're going to act, in fact, we're going to act like that didn't even happen. Okay? We're going to act like it didn't happen. I just read it, and you had planned on bombing this area. It was pre-planned. It had nothing to do with anything I said that angered you. You should not act out of anger. That's how we're going to act. But understand, we should not have this test of wills. I will win. You will die, Mr. Milikowski. Okay? So you continue to foment war and make your own end for your own people. You do that. We all know that by the way, you can defeat Hezbollah. Anyone with sense knows that a military that has been fighting for almost a year, demoralized, tired, fearful, conscripts against a seasoned military, a seasoned force that's not tired, that ain't been fighting for 11 months, day for day, scared to put boots on the ground because they're so afraid of death. And the worst death for a Jew is to be killed by the hand of the one who they are now murdering. It don't get no worse than that for them. So while Mr. Milikowski figured this all out, one more thing. Eat, man. I can tell that you've been stressed out. You are stressed. But I've been there. You ain't got no appetite. You don't want to eat. You don't want no sex. You don't want nothing but to be left alone. You don't even want to think. You stressed. You in ass deep. You in ass deep. You wanted it to be powerful. Now you are. Now you are, and you're stressed. And one more thing, if I may asperse you, just a little bit. Dude, what's wrong with you people that got money? Listen, I own two suits. Two suits, both of them $500. I don't ever wear them. I just bought them last year, or earlier this year. They're hanging up in somebody's closet somewhere. But this ain't about me. This ain't about me. When you lose weight like that, it looks, listen, the camera enlarges your shoulders. And your shoulders are not in any in any proportionality to your head. Okay? It's because you have lost weight. So go buy another suit. Call in a tailor and you won't look so damn stressed. It won't be so obvious that you'd have lost 15 pounds. Okay? Just stop it. Stop it. And look around you. Is all lost? Damn. Is all lost? That is a question that you should entertain, Mr. Milikowski. For us and the rest of the world and Mr. Milikowski, enjoy the rest of your night. And I'll act like I was confused because for me to feel like that I said something and it got people bombed and killed, well, I just don't know how I would act, Mr. Milikowski. And I don't want to feel that. I really don't want to feel that. So don't make me feel it. So be careful in what you do. particularly after you've heard audios or that big booming voice in your head as you hear now. Be careful. You are not unreachable. Neither, man, listen here, neither you or yours. Look around you. Look around you and love yourself. Good day, Mr. Milikowski. I'm Source. 7, I am 1.